Good afternoon. Wednesday, hump day. Um, Beautiful day. Thought it was going to rain. Ended up being a very, very beautiful day. Let me know where you're coming in from, please, as you're jumping on. That way we know where you're coming in from. I'm going to do a few little shares here real quick while we talk about today's topic. I'll go over a few little reminders. First one is I don't want you all to forget that the new site, fire department, new site, Mississippi, is actually having an event this weekend. They're doing a double, I guess not really a double barbecue, but a event where you can get your choice of two different meals on the day. So they're having a breakfast where they are doing pancakes and things of that nature, sausage, and a drink. All of the proceeds going to the New Site Fire Department. Okay, so from 6 to 10, you have the pancakes and sausage and a drink for $6. And then from 2 till 8, you can get barbecue plates with coleslaw salad, baked beans, roll, and a drink for 10. They're having all kinds of cakes and pies for sale. A silent auction as well. They are raffling off a American Tactical 20 gauge over under. That's a real amazing thing. Don't forget that you can catch us on the replay. If you're catching us on the replay, hashtag replay. If you are, in fact, watching with us live, let me know where you're coming in from. A lot of information going on. I know some of you had suggested that we do a video later in the day, later in the afternoons for you all. Probably we'll do that some as well. Again, we're kicking off. There's a lot of content. There's some content that's being pre-recorded that will be uploaded, at a later date. That's kind of what a podcast video cast does. Not all of it will be live, but again, I do like coming live. Another thing that I wanted to share with you all out there are many businesses that have shut down here in the last few weeks, few months. We had United Furniture, right around Thanksgiving down in Tupelo. Now we've got Van Lee up here in our own neck of the woods that is laying folks off and about to be laying more folks off. They're shutting their operations down. If you have anyone that you know that has a 401k or privatized insurance or insurance with them and they need to privatize that, should I say, I am a licensed trustee. I'll be more than glad to help them move that. No fees. Just doing it because I feel sorry for them and I know that they need some help. And if you do not move it pretty soon, then again, your entire 401k could possibly be eaten up with fees that the company will now not be paying. You'll kind of see me swapping back and forth. Again, we record on multiple channels, multiple venues. YouTube being one of those. I've dropped the link for today's YouTube video. You can go and subscribe, join that channel, leave us some feedback. Please leave us some comments over there on YouTube. Just got invited to be a creator for financial information, educational information. So that was real exciting. Here's getting my nerves, I tell you, so I do apologize. But what we're going to talk about is some budgeting tips. Well, this is really more of what we call a debt snowball. And a lot of you know Dave Ramsey. It's no secret that a lot of people have used Dave's tactics for quite some time. Very great guy, very, very formidable expert on his genre, what's going on. However, there are some things that disagree with him on the investment strategy side and the interest side. However, there's a lot of takeaways that we can use from Dave and some of the things that he has taught us to practice throughout the year. So the one that we're going to talk about today, first and foremost, is what is the debt snowball? Okay. A debt snowball is just simply a different debt payoff method where you're basically going to pay your debts off from smallest to largest, regardless of interest rate. Okay. You want to knock out the smallest and easiest one first and foremost. You want to take what you were paying from that smallest one. You then want to add it to the payment to your very next smallest debt in line. And that's what we call a snowball. So you're starting to use the excess from this first one and just create, like I said, a snowball effect. So basically, here's how it works. You're going to list again those debts from smallest to largest, okay? Doesn't matter the interest rate. Smallest to largest, one debt to the other, okay? Then you want to make sure that you're making all of your minimum payments on those debts except for the smallest, okay? You want to pay as much as possible on the smallest. So let's go back to step one. Listing everything from smallest to largest, regardless of interest rate. Pay the minimums on everything but the smallest. You then want to take what excess you were paying on the others, place it on the smallest until that debt is completely eradicated in full. Okay? You're going to do that for each one of your bills until you finally get to what? Guess what? Financial freedom or some sort of financial freedom. You won't be answering to debt collectors. No more watching your phone and having to delete or acerbate phone calls or negate phone calls that you're trying to avoid, okay, because you're under that financial stress. There's no reason to be ashamed of it. About 65-75% of Americans right now are living paycheck to paycheck. We don't want to do that anymore. So what happens after you get these debts eradicated? Okay. Then what happens after you are hyper focused and you've got all those debt collectors not calling you or watching your paychecks disappear anymore, right? So here's what we're going to do now. Because you get hyper focused at chunking all those extra dollars at debt, you're actually going to see how much faster you can get them paid off. Okay. Then we'll probably look at this next topic. I want to add this in here. Debt snowball debt versus debt avalanche. Okay. That's another way to pay off debt. A debt avalanche. Sounds pretty epic, right? Wrong. With a debt avalanche, you're actually paying the debts with the highest interest first, with the rates of the lowest interest, regardless of balance. So that might sound like smart math, but it's actually not. Debt is it's not a math problem, it's a behavior problem that we all have. Okay. So if you want to change your behavior and actually get out of debt, so once you change that behavior, you got to stay motivated. Okay. You got to stay motivated. You may not see progress for a long time if you're using the avalanche, so you're probably going to give up. And that's why we suggest the snowball. Okay. So let's look at the terminology of debts for just a minute. That way we can kind of guide you on this snowball effect and how it basically needs to go. Okay. So here's what you want to do. Minimum payments. Minimum payment is your lowest amount absolutely required to pay on the debt each month, and this requires your principal and your interest, okay? So I'll repeat that again. That is your very bare minimum payment that you're required to pay with interest each money. Your bare minimum payment, for those of you who do not know that, okay? Balance, of course, is the amount that you still owe on the debt. That's kind of a give me in case you didn't know that. Let's say that your original loan was 20 grand. You've paid 5,000 already, you owe 15 grand. Very, very simple math. Math doesn't lie. Your interest rate now could be a little tricky, especially if you don't know the difference between APR and YPR. And there is a difference. Your interest rate when it comes to borrowing money, there's no such thing as free. Lenders are interested in doing one thing, and that's letting you borrow their money because they're going to make money on what they loan you. Okay? So your interest rate is just a charge, usually shown as a percentage of the principal balance that you're going to pay the bank or the lender back. Okay? Your principal. Now, we're not talking about your elementary school principal here. We're talking about the principal initial balance that you borrowed before interest. Okay? Again, that's the money that you borrowed without the interest added. Let's assume that you borrowed $20,000 over a 10-year period. Your principal payment is going to be roughly $160, $167 a month. Okay? Not in addition to your APR or your YPR. Then you got what we call non-mortgage debt. Mortgage debt is simple. It's everything that you're gonna owe in loans related to purchases of your home. Yes, and that is going to be anything that is non-purchases of your home. That's going to include cars, student loans, anything, credit cards. I mean, it's going to be every debt that you have except for your mortgage. So we want you to list everything in your Snowball except for your mortgage, because what's going to happen is once we've knocked all that consumer debt out, and Dave teaches us that once you've knocked all that consumer debt out, then there's some other important steps that you need to take to secure your financial future and start tackling your house and your home. You can actually try to calculate a debt-free date, and that's going to be when every single cent of your consumer debt history is just gone. Bye-bye credit cards, see student loans, and you've only got a mortgage. Okay? We're going to hit that hard later. Really, really hard. But for now, when you use the debt Snowball and you get all these consumer debts paid off, then that's time to celebrate those small wins. As always, I hope that you have enjoyed this short, again, on the small stuff. We try to do it 10, 15 minutes. Don't forget your community events. I also want to say that the Alliance, for all those looking for a job, there is a career fair over in Corinth at the arena coming up January the 17th. So hopefully you've watched this all the way to the end. If you did, this is packed full of information for your community, information for some events that's going on coming up this weekend, and some information for those of you who are looking and seeking some employment. Again, if you find someone who needs this info, please share it with your family and your friends and anyone else that you think that might be interested in the information. As always, thanks again, guys, for watching. And until next time, let's talk, y'all.